science and technology. Now, as far as this school, this is one of the schools where we do the same thing to financial donation and collect school supplies. And one of the things we do collect is black dolls, because when you have European missionaries or European volunteers or whatever they represent coming into Africa, they bring dolls and things that look like them, which confuse our children, and because it definitely confuses our children here in this country, and definitely more so, in Africa. And Kumasi is the second largest city, so usually when we do any major city, we do a city tour, so you get a chance to make your way around the city. Kumasi is full of culture. One of the things that we like to do is to go to the Adinka village, where you can get your kente cloth and you can get Adinka stamps, stamp them in ink, and make your own cloth. But also we get a beautiful presentation on as far as how the ink is made and everything. There's a wonderful wood carving village there, and it's just amazing. You'll literally see two brothers there with a block of wood.
You just want to win.
Then later on you'll see that block of wood literally chiseled into a beautiful artifact. There's a lot of skills there in Ghana. A lot of things are done this, not old-fashioned, but done with just hand tools. And while we're in Kumasi, we stay at the Micklin also. The Micklin is the local chain. We have one in Accra and one in Kumasi. Now the fourth location we go to, which is our big highlight, is the Central Region. The Central Region, you have Elmina and Cape Coast, and both cities have both cities represent the two largest dungeons that were built. That was built. Well, I guess I can't really say built by Europeans. Europeans put the motion to build them, but our people really put them together. So our people literally was forced to build their own destruction. These dungeons were originally trading posts, but when the business of the transatlantic European slave trade really just started escalating, it was just more of just a holding cell for our people for anywhere from weeks to months before we were taken across the Atlantic. And another key point is, before we even get to Cape Coast Elmina, what I like to do on the tour is, when we leave in Kumasi, I start us off, which I call like the death march. We're on a bus literally going to the location called the Last Bath, where our ancestors were washed up, but along that whole route, our ancestors had to march down that route. So you're talking about hundreds of years ago, you're talking about no facility. You're talking about being chained together, with your own people, and not everybody is strong as each other. So, literally when someone died, they have to be chopped off and thrown to the side, or they get attacked by animals. It's just all kind of just horrendous things that happen in that march. So that part of the journey, we did for 3 days. We just really want everyone to really get a feel for what happened to our ancestors, and so that right there is 3 days. The first day we go to the Last Bath. The second day we kind of just relax there in Resort 1 Africa, and the third day we make our way to Cape Coast Elmina, and it's like a real long day. You're in the dungeons, male, female dungeons, just for hours, not all at one time. We do have a break in between dungeons, but it has to be hard, because in order for you to really feel somewhat of what our ancestors feel, we have to just make it hard. So it's a long day. Your feet is tired. Sometimes you're in there, you feel like passing out or collapsing. We have literally times people crying, but it's a phenomenal experience. So those are the 4 regions that we go to, and those are some of the highlights. It's a lot of things that we do. Sometimes I'm amazed by what we do, but literally if you get up with us at 8:30 and you get on a bus every day, you literally see more than what anybody has seen traveling to Ghana. It's a country that has so much to offer, and that's why I really go there, because I can't do the same itinerary and make it relevant to our struggle in America like how I could do it in Ghana. Like there's this fascination with South Africa, and I try not to say nothing bad about South Africa. South Africa is really a beautiful place. Been there twice, but in order for us to really reconnect, you know, Ghana is where we need to be. I don't want to sound biased or anything, but you know, but at the same time too, it's where we really need to be as far as business development, which is where I'm at. I'm going to talk about preparation on doing business in Ghana. In 2006, when I first went there, all I saw was this great opportunities that many of us can take advantage of and be a part of. And I realized that if we didn't do that, the Asians were going to come in, which they have been coming in more and more, and really dominating the market and taking over the country little by little. Now, certain things I like to talk about when we talk about doing business in Ghana or Africa in general. We want everyone to have a conscious ideology and must be incorporated into the process, or I should say a conscious ideology must be incorporated into the process. You know, we don't want people to go to the African continent and just their eyes are just red and all they see is just dollar signs where all they want to do is go and exploit their own people. You know, we strictly talk about straight up nation building, and I tell anyone if they're looking to go to Africa beyond nation building, just spare all of us, because that's really our mission, not the mission of exploiting our own people, which is which is a factor of more Europeans. Right? So this means research on the history of Ghana, including the current economic stance. I tell everybody, make sure you do some of your own research. I'm always available for questions and answers. Study a history of repatriation and Pan-Africanism. Repatriation is that whole process of you returning to the continent and for the purpose of this nation building. So, we really want to make sure we understand and get clarity of certain things before we start talking. We want to do this and everything, because if we rush into this and make a certain move, we'll be unnecessarily frustrated, because everywhere you go in the world, you have to understand the culture of how that country works in order for you to be successful. Another thing I talk about is to focus on working smarter by using more of a collective energy. If we have 5 people that's about 35 years old, it's more ideal that those 5 people work together to live communal there in Ghana so they can be more successful living there. Most of the people I know that are repatriated are more people who have their retirement, getting Social Security, or much of the older age. We do have younger people in their 20s, 30s, and 40s there that are doing certain things. But the main thing is, if you don't have finance or you're not making money consistently, whatever you bring there, whether it's $50,000 or $100,000 or $1 million, it will just go. So I always try to let people know, focus on something that you can build business from, and it's best that you started here in America, especially if you started with the talent and resources that you have. All right, our strong point, Africa is our home. We never gave up our citizenship, so we are still Africans with entitlement to our homeland. So a lot of times we'll have people trick us about that we are Americans, we're Jamaicans, we're Guyanese, but we never gave up our citizenship. We never signed anything. We're just taken from our homeland. So we're literally the same people, even though we've been, even though we've been through a certain process that have, literally destroyed our culture little by little, but we're still the same people. So we have that entitlement to that land. So once we start making our reconnection, then we can begin that process. Right? Now, the advantages of doing business in Ghana is a rich cultural environment. Unlimited amount of business opportunities in science, engineering, agriculture, and technology. Economic development, we can do economic development using skills that we already have. because we live in a global world. Ghana, just like many other African countries, abundant of natural resources, low cost of living and starting a business, great opportunities to build a corporate business enterprise with similar minds. Now, you might have a question like, what is a business cooperative enterprise? As I've talked about it a few times. A business corporate enterprise is a jointly and collective owned enterprise by its members with shared revenues. Money generated from a cooperative is a revenue that is shared with the group. A cooperative is a collective owned which eliminates exploitation of workers. The working masses own and control the means for producing wealth in this enterprise. This is opposed to private investment for profits, which create exploitative and oppressive situations. Africans in Africa should take part on all levels in some of these enterprises. So literally, if you build an enterprise, you want to incorporate, people in general, Africans in the diaspora and Africans in the continent. The cooperative connotates collectivism and promote nation-building systems for success. Right? Working together in a collective is more in line with our African culture. So that's one of the things that we're looking to this, really just get in the people's minds that this is our system of this, communalism or corporate, or this working together, as a group or a nation or a family. Right? Europeans' greedy mentality in Africa has imposed individualism on the masses, and sometimes we pick up a lot of those bad habits and we use it against each other. But that's where it comes from. Now, this has produced behavior in which many of our people operate like crabs in a barrel. But we must not create an oppressive class relationship, kind of like Liberia and Sierra Leone. We must more look to, and it's not saying that it's like simple and easy that we make our way to Africa and we just all get along, everything all worked out. Everything takes work and takes time.
How does it win?
Right? Now I'm gonna read something from Kwame Nkrumah on the needs of Africa. And this is Ghana first president, 1957. Right? And this is just, I'm quoting his work. Among immediate needs are the manufacturing in Africa of agriculture, manufacturing of all kinds of speed of the modernization of agriculture. We need supplies of electrical equipment for use in growing electric power production essentials for industrial growth. Mining and industrial machinery must be produced in Africa to lower the cost of developing our mineral resources. Construction machinery and supply resources. Constructions and supplies. Chemicals, fertilizers, plastic are all urgently required, and Africa must produce them for our own requirements. He goes on to say, different regions in Africa suggest the production of iron and steel, non-ferrous metal, engineering, supplies, chemicals and fertilizers, cement, papers, and textiles should be developed. Now, as we talk about all those different things that need to be done, you literally need certain skills to do these things. So skills needed in Ghana, we need everything in Africa. So this is going to go to a list of things that I wrote down. Engineers, doctors, lawyers, teachers, professors, welders, electricians, craftsmen, IT technician, architects, auto mechanics, printers, carpenters, masons, farmers, and other skills as well. Because remember, these skills were originally taken from the African continent and brought to this side of the world for the Europeans' development in the Caribbean to the Americas. These are all the type of skills Africa needs at a very basic level that will help the individual, the group, and the African people in general. It doesn't matter the type of skills, whether it's vocational, technical, or intellectual. Africa needs everything. The more skills you have, the better it becomes to promote self-sufficiency. These skills can be used to start a cooperative to help employ people within a group and Africans at home. All right, some of the top business opportunities are spices, wood carving, banking, bookstore, government properties, consultancy, eco villages, information technology institutions, agriculture, equipment, suppliers, food trees, fitness center, farming, fashion, generator distributor, housing construction, jewelry, home appliance, consumer goods, nightclubs, medical supplies, medical clinics, movie/video production, music industry, marketing/advertising, roller skating rink, real estate management and development, restaurants, sewing/embroidery machine, spiritual health center, solar energy, telecommunication, transportation, timeshare investment, properties, tourism, water and sewage facilities, and a lot more. So I'm going to catch my breath for a second. So those are literally, I know it's very diverse, but it basically shows you that a lot of the things and the skills that we have here and that we use on a daily basis to, I would say, to maintain and keep keep America or keep America going. We can use in our own African continent to really build a nation for a future for our children, the future of our race. Okay. All right, this part I have talks about secure land opportunities. Fianco is one option, but we also have one called Sabaya land, which is by Cape Coast Elmina, and you have a few different land sites there that we'll get a chance to see, and it's all really based on your feel for that specific part of the country, and the land setup is usually based on plots, which is like about a quarter of an acre. And this part I'm going to talk about how to get your business enterprise started. Right? So what you want to do is choose an industry, agriculture, manufacturing, etc. Develop a feasible game plan or overview. Describe the feasibility of your cooperative and necessary steps that you have to take to make it work. Description of cooperative, its products, services, your location, your target consumer. What you charge for product, service, the needs, and the cost of advertising, the cost to start, and the salaries of the workers. What are the skills needed to work in the cooperative? How much each person will contribute and the percentage of revenue each person will receive. Organize your research into a business proposal, then a business plan. Preparation is the key to success. Okay. I have a few more things as far as to get your business enterprise started. Some of the major areas that repatriates should look into: farming, cooperatives are factories, clinics, and schools. We must shed the mindset of being a consumer and thinking more of being a producer. So most of the time when I'm talking to people as far as doing anything in Africa, it's based on products and service. So that way we can begin to just start, really just thinking in the mind of self-reliance and being self-sufficient. People who do those things are people who are going to be, they're going to be producers. They're going to be people who